What's going on, everybody? Listen, I wanted to talk today about something pretty interesting because we all know that fighting game players have a flair for the cheap stuff. They're known for sticking it out when things are looking dire in the face of cheap combos, overpowered tactics, never banning characters, always sticking through their games no matter how broken or unfair they may seem. But even in the world of Street Fighter, there are certain things that you are not allowed to do which can get you banned or have your tournament games rejected and deemed null and void. Yes, and this has had real world consequences in the world of Street Fighter V specifically. We'll touch on that in a little bit here, but what am I talking about? I'm not really talking about any necessarily game-breaking bugs or techniques. Those have existed in the past, but they've been mostly patched out. I'm talking about costumes and stages. There's actually a lot of costumes and stages that are banned from the Capcom Pro Tour and explicitly stated in the rule set that you may not select these costumes or stages when playing in the CPT. And if you do, your games will be considered null and void. No matter what the outcome is, you'll have to replay the match. Let's go ahead and go over a few of these and why I think they are banned, and just cover some of the more interesting items that are actually removed from competitive play in the Capcom Pro Tour. So first off, let's start off with one of my favorite stages, actually. This stage is actually banned from the Capcom Pro Tour, and at first glance you might be wondering why it would be banned. It's a very pretty stage. I feel like it's one of my favorites. I love the lighting, I love how bright it is. However, things get a little bit iffier when you start moving closer and closer to the right side of the stage, and you might notice the waves here actually cover the player models here. The waves come up to about their ankles and kind of obscure your vision of their moves, and you might be like, okay, I can see how that can be difficult to deal with. But it gets worse than that when you start considering the variety of moves that are available in Street Fighter V. So here's a quick example. Yeah, without paying extremely close attention, you're not able to see that Nikali is actually laying a projectile on the ground here, which is approaching Birdie slowly on the ground. You just really cannot see it, especially when the waves roll in and you have the white foam of the waves there obscuring it. Birdie has a similar sort of move. He has his V-skill one with the can. He throws the can on the ground and it controls the whole screen. It keeps rolling, and so without being able to see the ground, you really cannot play the game effectively. Other moves that this affects are things like Dalsim's V-Trigger 1, where he lays a flame carpet on the ground. It makes sense. I can understand why this one is banned from tournament, to prevent anyone from being salty about being cheesed out. Flame carpet underwater? Yeah, you don't question Street Fighter physics. You just roll with it. So here we have Vega's specialty stage, the Flamenco Tavern, and kind of like a Kanzuki Beach, you don't really see anything really that wrong with it at first. It looks like a good stage, and I kind of like how it looks. So you might be wondering why it's banned. Well, it's banned specifically because on this stage, Vega has something interesting. He has a whole new unique move where he actually climbs on the wall and then performs a jump off action. This is not a move he has access to normally, and when you grab the wall, you actually have no control of his movement. It's a random amount of time he's stuck to the wall and a random direction in which he climbs in, so you don't really have control over it. And then once you leave the wall, you can control his movement, and then you either press punch to do the slash follow-up, or you do grab to do the grab follow-up. So he does have these options out of it. It's pretty much like it's flying Barcelona off the wall. I don't think this breaks Vega or anything. He is invincible on the way up, and you can't hit him off the wall. He's vulnerable on the way down, so it's just kind of cheesy. Like, it's a fun thing to do to troll opponents in ranked here and there, but I understand it as a formality's sake. You want to keep gameplay consistent across all stages. It's not like Smash or a platform fighter where the stage is decided in the balancing. So because of that, I understand why it's banned, but it's uniformly banned. It's not banned if you pick Vega or Vega's on the screen. They just flat out ban it just for consistency's sake. So yeah, that's why this stage is also on the banned list. On to the next one. For this one, we have the Skies of Honor, and this stage, I believe it actually is Rashid's signature stage, or one of them. And yeah, you're on top of an airplane flying around. Basically, this one is just banned for making people motion sick, and I feel it too. you might be getting motion sick just watching this video. Maybe not. I don't think it's as apparent if you're not playing, but while you're playing, you're focusing on still components of the screen. I'm not even one that's easily made motion sick, but even now, looking at my still webcam right here while this stage is going on in the background, it's kind of messing me up. So I don't want to stay on this stage too long before people click off the video, but I just wanted to pick Rashid and Zangief here as examples because I don't know what it is, but the only time you see the stage, it's when it's a diamond ranked Rashid who just spams V-Skill 2 dive kick. They pick the most online abusive and gimmicky playstyle possible. They pick this stage and they want to make you sick not only with their gameplay but with their stage choices. So basically, if you're a troll, you pick this stage. It speaks volumes about your character, I feel like, if you pick this stage, and on top of that, it's banned from competitive play because it makes people feel sick. So I would advise not picking it in ranked or casual matches. So the next stage is not even its own unique stage on the stage selection. It's actually an alternate for the Temple of Ascension, and that's Field of Fate. I believe this is a throwback to Street Fighter Alpha. People love this stage, but it is banned, and I'll show you why that is. So here we have Field of Fate, Ryu Tsugat on it, and it's actually a great looking stage. It feels epic, you know, it really sets the tone for their showdown, and I kind of like just the vibe it gives you. It really makes you feel like the battle is very intense and important. However, the issue is there's not much visual data in the background to really understand what part of the screen you're on. So as I push Sagat to the corner here, the corner is just, you know, this edge of the screen. There's nothing really telling you that this is the corner. Maybe a slight slope in the background. The left side, I feel like, is much more clear than the right. But as you're pushing to the right side, you have a really hard time knowing where the corner is. And that's very important in competitive play because, one, you just need to be aware of where the corner is because you're trying to avoid being in the corner. Two, a lot of combos are only viable based on the distance from the corner, right? A lot of characters have combo routes that work if you're half screen away, if you're a quarter of the way to the corner, if you're in the corner, right? So you have to make decisions on the fly based on the visual reference of where you are and your opponent is relative to the corner of the screen. And I could already imagine myself dropping spacing specific combos in a very important tournament match and being, you know, very upset about it. So rather than going through that kind of assault and having people complain about it, the stage is just banned. So the final ban stage is not the basic beginner stage for Street Fighter V where all begins, Forgotten Waterfall. This is like the default stage for Season 1 Vanilla Street Fighter V. It's where it all begins, really. It's Mysterious Cove. It's the night version of this stage. Yeah, this one, I honestly don't know why it's banned. It's a little darker than I would prefer, but I feel like the lighting effects are decent, to be honest, compared to other stages. Like Balrog stage, the casino stage, I feel like looks awful when you're trying to play and focus. The Shadaloo base at night, Lair of the Four Kings, I feel like those stages have a lot more issues with lighting and potentially blending with the characters. So this one is kind of dark. I can see some issues, but I'm gonna be honest, when I was looking up this list, like I knew about the banned stages. This is the one that surprised me. I did not even realize that this stage was banned. It is. I mean, the only thing I know about this stage is that usually when people pick it on ranked, they tend to be on PS4 and on Wi-Fi, so maybe that's what it is. We all have bad associations with the people who tend to pick this stage. If this is your favorite stage, I'm sorry, but that's the full list of the stages that are banned and you're not allowed to pick in the current season of Street Fighter V competitive gameplay as of 2021. The list has changed. Previously, actually, Training Stage used to be banned from competitive play, and we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, before you weren't allowed to pick Training Stage during the 2020 season of Street Fighter V, and that led to some problems that we'll break down in a bit. All right, so beyond just stages, certain costumes are banned, but beyond just costumes, you actually aren't allowed to pick certain colors. That includes every single EX09 default color. Yes, the totally like blacked out model with the red hue. This color is 100% banned from CPT, and my reasoning or my guess here is that the people who picked this color are just demons, and Capcom did not want to be associated with such demons on the Capcom Pro Tour. If you pick this color, I know you're going ham and ranked. I just know it. Like, I just feel like it exudes that cockiness and that just arrogance in your play style. I don't know what it is, but this is like just not a classy color to me, and I just associate it with people who are just out to one and done you, rage quit, ruin your win streak. That's how I feel. So this color is completely banned for every single character. And I mean, the real reason is probably because it makes them look too uniform and might be visually difficult to distinguish on certain stages. But also there was another kind of variation of this color which was banned as well, but it's one I've never seen before. I had to look it up. EX10 was actually a Japanese exclusive if you purchased the game for Champion Edition from the Capcom Japan store. It was the blue version of this costume. So the red version you got from purchasing the Championship Edition DLC, and the blue version I guess was kind of a Japan exclusive. I think it looks a bit better than the red, but it has the same issues. It's kind of just a weird color palette. But yeah, this one is also banned, which explains why I've never seen it. So it doesn't seem to be a popular color in Japan at all. Well, you can probably see what we're about to talk about here. We're getting into the more obvious items that are banned from competitive play. If I didn't tell you who they were, if you didn't see the icons in the upper left and upper right, you might not even be able to guess what characters we're looking at here. This is Gil with his Pyron costume. I believe that's how you say it. It's a character from Darkstalkers. I know nothing about that series, so I'm not going to pretend I know the history of the character it's based off of, but I can tell you that this costume, while kind of cool, is an absolute just visual nightmare when trying to play in game. I mean, the effects all over him, he literally like fades in and out of the screen. You can see straight through him when the effects kind of pass through his body. The aura around him is very distracting as well and moves with his buttons, and you just can't tell what's going on. It's a nightmare to see. Another interesting thing is if he throws EX, he doesn't really flash yellow, as he's already very bright yellow orange hue with this color, so you can't even really tell in the heat of the moment if he did an EX move or not. I'm burning EX here, and it's very hard to see that he did that. So yeah, very obvious to me why this costume was banned, even though it's kind of sick in some ways, it's not practical in others. On the right hand of the screen, we have Ed. So Ed has, this is his what is it, Nero? I have to look this up. See, I'm not much of a gamer. Don't tell the YouTube audience I said that, but yeah, I'm not much of a gamer. So this is Ed. He has his stand here. I don't know what you would call it in the world of DMC. This guy behind him follows every move he does, and you're just seeing literally double when he plays. So it just distracts you when you're playing the game. It's very hard to tell what's happening when he plays, so I'm not a huge fan of this costume. It's pretty distracting when you run into an Ed in ranked using it, so it's pretty clear that this is just something that could visually distract the opponents and give them, the Ed player, an unfair advantage over his opponent. So this one is also banned from competitive play. It's his Devil Trigger. I don't play video games. So you must have known that this was coming up if you follow Street Fighter V competitively or know anything about Blanka. Both of the characters that you see on the screen in front of you are one character. I feel like they did a great job of giving him completely polar opposite costumes to represent this character. We have Blanka-chan here on the left. One of the best costumes I've ever seen in fighting game history. I love this costume. The costume on the right is from Monster Hunter, and I don't even want to attempt to pronounce the name of the monster that he's emulating, but one good detail you can notice here is that he's not actually the monster. He's in a costume, as you can see the mask there with the grid pattern where he would be able to see through. So I just wanted to kind of show that at this screen. But yeah, this is two different costumes from Blanka, both banned. The monster costume I think is a bit more egregious. Like the wings totally throw off like where you might think he is if you're going for a cross up or something like that. Like even there, it feels a little weird. But Blanka-chan, personally, I don't mind. To me, this is Blanka's default. I kind of associate Blanka-chan in Street Fighter V as the default Blanka. I feel like this costume, it could rock. I've never had an issue playing against it. Blanka, unfortunately, has two pretty cool costumes banned from competitive play. The monster one looks cool. I can understand. I wouldn't want to play against that in a tournament. Blanka-chan, let it rock, Capcom. That's what I say. So like I mentioned, there's been a lot of collaborations with Street Fighter V and different gaming franchises across the Capcom library of games. So one of the most prolific ones was Mega Man. So we have Mega Man Ryu in the game. That costume is banned as well, but you know, Ryu just looks like Mega Man. So, but I wanted to show kind of the more obscure ones that are banned from this collaboration. This is Rashid on the left, in case you didn't recognize him. I don't know how you couldn't. Yeah, he looks weird. It's very hard to tell where he's going to hit you with. Like the fact that they took his left arm and turned it into a cannon just completely throws off your visual spacing of like where his hurt box and hitboxes lie. And on a character that's already kind of difficult to control and whiff punish in the moment, since he's moving so fast, usually from different means through the air and everything, it just adds another layer of of difficulty to dealing with them. On the right here, though, we have Gutsman for Balrog, another Mega Man enemy. And I actually used this costume in the CPT before when this was originally released in around 2018. I think the costume was new at the time, so I don't think the rules actually banned this, but I definitely used this costume in an online CPT tournament back in Season 3. I don't really know why this one would be banned. Everything kind of lines up. He still has normal hands, so I don't really know why this is banned besides to not make the Ryu and the Mega Man players jealous that his Mega Man costume was allowed and theirs wasn't. Maybe it's the fat ankles. I don't know. Capcom may be biased against fat ankles. What can I say? I would never use that costume again. I think it's super ugly. I just don't think it impacts the balance of the game. All right, so now we have Gil and Wesker on the screen. Haha, just kidding. I'm so funny. This is actually the alternate costume here for Urien. The Halloween costume for Urien is his brother Gil. I don't know if this was originally banned because Urien was released before Gil was added to the game, and this costume was actually given to Urien before Gil was added to the game. So I'm not sure if this was changed after the fact to prevent people from having some kind of like glitch in their brain where they randomly think they're fighting against Gil. I don't really see any problems with this costume from a functionality standpoint, besides the fact that he's literally trying to mimic another character that exists in the current game. And the one on the right here, it's one of Capcom's collaborations with Resident Evil. This is Urien dressed up as Wesker. And at first glance, you really wouldn't think there's too much wrong with this. I mean, everything's pretty clearly defined, except maybe when you pair it with his V-Skill 1? I don't know, like, it might be that it's hard to see that he's powered up with the magnetism, kind of, you know, getting him all blacked out there for a second, but I don't know. That's the only kind of guess I could have, is when paired with V-Skill 1, it could be hard to tell if he's powered up or not at a quick glance. But if you didn't notice, I actually dropped a little Easter egg about this earlier in the video. I picked him when I went to the Vega stage because this costume has some significant storied history actually impacting the final results for a major CPT tournament in the 2020 season. There's other banned costumes. You can go to capcomprotour.com, look at the rules. I'm not going to cover all of them. There's a few other ones, but I'm going to tell you how this costume actually changed the history of a major CPT tournament. All right, for the 2020 CPT season, we shifted to online tournaments for different regions to see who would qualify onto Capcom Cup. And Takamura here won the Europe West tournament in pretty dominating fashion. He went through in winner's side and kind of won the whole thing without losing a set. Except, however, against Ryan Hart, there's a lot of controversy with this set in the top 16. So much so that Ryan Hart even made several tweets regarding what went down. Guys, make sure you check the rules before playing. I won multiple matches versus Takamura, but it was disallowed because I used Wesker costume and then randomly got the grid afterwards too. I'm out now, but I'll definitely read everything properly next time. Crying, laughing emoji. Good luck to all top 8. So this image actually shows the Battle Lounge receipts from his matches with Takamura. And you can see here that Ryan wins 2 games here, a third, Takamura wins 1, Ryan wins 1, and not pictured here is another match that Takamura won. So that sounds confusing. How did Ryan win 3 straight in a 1st-to-2 set, but then lose the 1st-to-2? So he actually has another video here where he breaks down exactly what's going on. Basically what happened, he picks the Wesker costume. This is his default that he always picks. He wins the match, but then gets informed that the match cannot count because the costume is banned. And this is all live on the Capcom Fighter stream. Production is having all kinds of issues. We're cutting away from the match. The commentators are trying to contact them in the Discord. And they're playing through the match while the TOs are trying to tell them to stop playing because it doesn't count. The next game, after he switches to the proper costume, the grid was banned at this time in the 2020 season because every stream would be featuring the grid. The grid, the training stage, is what every top player always picks. It's the most consistent stage for online play and has the least amount of visually distracting materials in the background. When they were showing the stream for the whole 2020 season, they didn't want every stage to look like this, so they said, hey, pick a different stage. The grid is on the list of banned stages. So Takamura is the one in control of the lounge at this point. He picks the grid without realizing it. That's everyone's default. And once again, Reinhardt wins, but this match wasn't official either because they were trying to tell him, hey, don't play, this stage is not allowed. Basically, after being up 2-0, he's told the set is still 0-0. At this point, is when they go on to proceed and play the next game. And this is still 0-0, even though Reinhardt has won 2 games. He wins the next game, putting him up 3-0 in the first of 2. But then Takamura goes on to win the next couple games, right? So Takamura technically gets by in this set, winning 2-1. But really, Reinhardt won the first of 2. 3-2. So it's a real weird situation that happened, and this is also due to the nature of online gameplay. The TOs can't physically step in and stop the match before the players are proceeding. It was very controversial because why were they not allowing the grid to be on the CPT stream? I feel like that's the dumbest decision the Capcom Pro Tour made. And in fact, what they do now is when they display a stream in the current season of Street Fighter V, they actually use a mod to display a random allowed stage so that it's not always showing the grid. So now in the 2021 season, you can pick the grid. The stream that they show at home has a different stage than the players see. So I wish they had done that in the beginning, but that was I feel like a huge mistake from the CPT, that they kind of hurt the player's experience for the viewability of the stream. And it really showed in this set where it honestly cost Reinhardt this tournament match, and it changed the course of the tournament history. Going through winners to win a tournament is so much more realistic than going to losers before top 8. So Takamura, who is on paper undefeated for this tournament, actually would have lost to Reinhardt 2-0 here in top 16 if these banned assets were not picked, right? He would have gone to losers and have to fight it out through there, and who knows who would have qualified at that point. It could have changed the whole course of this tournament history. But that's not the way things went down. He picked the Wesker costume, the training stage got picked, these things were banned, and that really had a major impact on this tournament's outcome. So that's all I got for this video. If you learned anything, if you enjoyed the discussion about the banned assets in Street Fighter V, please let me know in the comments down below. Maybe like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.